Hi, welcome to TTOG. We're your hosts, Sarah and Anne-Marie.
This podcast is not a replacement for therapy. We are therapists. However, we are not providing free therapy.
Hi, welcome back to TTOG. I'm your host, Anne-Marie.
I'm Sarah, and today's episode we are going to do a Q&A of all the questions that you guys asked on our Instagram.
Yay, let's do it.
So fun. All right, so I guess we'll just get right into it. I have the questions on my phone from the Instagram. We're going to skip over the first one that our silly IT guy put in. All right, we have a lot of good ones.
I know.
I feel like we have a lot of good ones that are pretty detailed. And I feel like we're going to have to think a little bit about a decent
We're
amount
putting
of them.
ourselves on the spot today.
Right. Okay, so our first one is who is one famous person you would never want to do a podcast with, and why would that be? I hope we don't get sued. I have to think about this one because
Yeah, this is tough. Who would I not want to be?
I know. But the next question is way better. So,
Yeah.
okay, who would...
Who would I not want to do this?
Right.
Okay, so Ryan and I honestly were just talking about basketball. And I think I would not want to do a podcast with LeBron James.
Hot take. Why?
Because his personality
Careful what you say.
on and off the court, to me, is not what young individuals would really want to see, right? So I think that how he perceives himself on and off the court is not bad. Because I'm so passionate about basketball, I think I would have a lot to say that probably would be really controversial to him, and like how he presents himself in basketball, because I played it. Not at his extent, that's for sure. You know, I'm not.
I like it.
I am not LeBron James. I'm surely not Michael Jordan either. But
I like it.
I just wouldn't. You know, I think how. Yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. That's a hot take.
I really, really
That's tough.
don't know who I wouldn't. Who I wouldn't want is like rough. Who I wouldn't want.
See, I think I'm gonna go off of that.
Yeah,
Like
just
I
continue.
also would not want. I would want him, and I would want him. Right? It's also both.
To prove a point.
Correct.
Like sit in the chair.
Yeah, that's definitely
Proving why
what
I didn't want you on this podcast.
Yes, but I think I would also not want maybe like a makeup influencer. Like I would feel so
You would feel there would be a
unprepared.
lot of unknown
Yeah,
for
for
you.
me.
Right, that's why.
So
And then I would eat that shit up.
Right.
Be like, okay.
yeah, you would be super uncomfortable with anyone sports related.
Right.
And I would feel so
Unless
unprepared.
it's hockey, then I'm good. Like I'll interview someone that plays hockey, but basketball is so boring to me.
For other reasons too. You will interview someone.
Okay, that's enough. It's enough.
Sorry.
Um,
Sorry, not sorry.
yeah, okay. Now I lost my train of thought.
Who you wouldn't?
I know, I just don't know. Maybe one of the Kardashians. And
Why?
solely because or Drake. And which is another hot take because I went to both his concerts that he had in Buffalo like years and years ago when I was young, and then this past one. But I feel like that whole Hollywood realm, you just don't know somebody. And they can put on a persona, but I don't think that we really know those people how
Yeah.
we should,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I don't want to say too much because I know that that's very touchy right
Yeah,
now,
it's
especially
super
the stuff
touchy.
that's coming out now.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I just think that that's one of the big reasons is because I feel like we idolize and praise these people
Mm-hmm.
that have such secret lives and not in a good way.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it would be not authentic,
Yeah.
I guess, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't mean we wouldn't.
I was just gonna
Doesn't
say, I'm
mean we
like,
wouldn't.
don't get me wrong. If that opportunity presented itself,
We are
obviously
in.
would.
We're all in.
But like, probably would have stipulations,
Yeah. We would have to be laser focused.
Right.
And I think that's, you know,
and they would have to be okay with, I guess, the questions that we wanted to ask, because it wouldn't be your typical like, how'd you get here? Where's your favorite show that
Yeah.
you play? Like, no, it would be like, are you in that shit or not?
really.
No, but seriously.
Yeah, really.
It's funny.
Okay. What's our next one?
Our next one's fun. It's kind of the same topic. I love this one. Okay. If you could do a therapy session with one famous person, who would it be and why?
A therapy session?
And now, okay, mine's like, not a hot take, but it's kind of weird and different because it's technically not a famous person, but it's like from a movie. But
Okay.
I've always wanted to.
Okay.
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Mine would be the Joker.
Wow. See, he's very interesting.
Right, and I did a paper in college about him, and oh my God, my professor loved it because I'm so intrigued by him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so intrigued. I just think that
Like how that brain works.
right,
Tell me how that brain
right.
works.
And not only
And
that,
in
but,
details,
like,
because I'm in for that.
right. Not only that, but he's so misunderstood and I feel like misdiagnosed and almost like needs that attention aspect. I don't know. It's just everything. I just love it. I get so excited because if
Wow.
that's one of my favorite movies also, only because of that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Like solely just that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that definitely that.
Famous person. I would want to therapy. Can I go to therapy with them? Or am I the therapist?
That's a good one. Do both.
Oh, God. Thanks, Sarah.
Do both.
Okay, Brene Brown. She's amazing. She's very grounded. I think she would.
That's your type of human.
I
though.
think she would eat me up.
Right. That's your type of.
Like-
You'd be like,
She would knock me down a few pegs.
Right.
Absolutely. And honestly, I need that sometimes.
right.
But who would I want in
Yeah, the
my
client
couch?
chair.
So on the spot. I'm so bad at on the spot.
I know, but that's okay. That's like authentic for us.
Okay. I think it would be anyone sports related. So I guess I'll go with Mia Hamm.
Okay.
I think I would love to understand what her mentality was when she was playing soccer and she was playing, in all the World Cups and being in a dynamic of her being such the older one on like the last few years of being on the team and like kind of hearing what that was like how she balanced being a famous soccer player to like family and friends, like what
I
that
love
was
it.
like. Because obviously we see on social media or like what we hear
right,
one
one version, right.
version, and I would love to hear the other part, but I wouldn't be able to share, which is sad. But from my own brain, I think I would love it.
Right. I think going off of that, I would love to interview one of the Sabres to see how it feels to be like disappointed every year.
Right?
Like, how does it feel to think that you're going to do X, Y, and Z this season and then be just so discouraged and disgusted?
And how do you get up the motivation again to go
stay,
over and
right,
over and over again?
I don't know.
Right?
I
How
don't
do you
know.
not put your hand up and be like, please trade me? Please trade me.
Right. Or just like sell our team. Do something.
Well, if you think about it, go in sports related. I mean, the Bills have had not a wonderful track
Right, but it's
record
not
either.
the same.
But there's a lot of hype.
because they've gotten so close.
Yeah.
The Sabres have gotten close these past years probably once.
Yeah.
And then they just plummeted.
Yeah, trade me.
And that's the only sport that I actually enjoy watching. So that's probably why.
I love it.
So.
Thanks for the questions. I love it.
Okay. Next one.
Oh, we have more.
A lot more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here for it.
Okay, this one is kind of taking a 360. What made you want to start the podcast? Which I love that one because I feel like there's many different reasons. Like I know we touched on the first episode how I've been thinking about a podcast for years, but I wanted to tailor it to be a little different and like something that was serious but also had a funny take.
We're all humans.
Right. And I feel like we also touched on how we had the same idea at the same time, but
Exactly the
but
same
it was
time.
literally that. It really was exactly that. It was immediate. Like when I looked at you, you knew exactly what I had in my head.
Yeah. I
So.
know. And why, I think, too, for me, I mean, it's a lot of folds in there of like when I'm in one-on-one therapy, I mean, you're really only touching that one person and whoever that person also touches outside of that office. But I feel like because we're pretty knowledgeable, you know, we're not experts, we're not all of the things, right? But I feel like we have a lot to offer. You know,
No, I
we
agree.
walk in all walks of life and
Right.
we experience many different things. And I feel like there's value in, you know, hearing what we've seen.
Right. And we
in
have
the mental
more
health
to
world.
offer than just in those four walls. Like obviously those four walls know so many secrets. Like because it's just that's
And
where
that's so
everything
humbling,
stays.
right? Isn't that so humbling
Right.
to know? And so like I felt like because sometimes it is so humbling to like have all those secrets and be in that room, I feel like there's so much more that we can cover because there has to be certain aspects you have to stay in when you're in therapy. So when you're on a podcast, it's very different. It's very open. It's very creative. And I think both of us have those
Features.
things running through our veins. So I'm excited.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that answer. I can't disagree. I really don't have much else. I just think being a therapist, it's already such an outlet for others, for the therapist to have such a creative outlet like a podcast and still touching on all the things counseling is just such a fun take on things. Because you see things and hear things and Google things, but sometimes half the time those people aren't really professionals. Like on TikTok, like you look at something and you see someone dressed in a white coat and I'm like, Google his name and you're not even a doctor. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I feel like people have such a false reality when it comes to mental health and therapy. Like it's gotten better obviously throughout the years, but it's definitely still that false narrative type of aspect.
Yeah. And I too want to touch on the fact of last week when we were having fun with our reels and like posting them is because, you know, we don't have to be so serious. Oh, this is mental health. We're only talking about mental health. Like mental health, that includes having fun.
Oh, yeah. Right.
The emotions of, you know, we don't have to just sit in we're angry, this is serious, here you're only, you know, this is the only thing you can do is like just focus on the sad and the angry. So like that's really what we've came to.
I agree.
And I love it.
I agree. Okay. This is a good one. What is something that no one else knows about you?
Well,
Oh my
isn't that loaded?
goodness. That is a good one, but
Someone doesn't
I
know
feel like
about me?
we're very, I don't know. I feel like I'm very open. Like I see
know.
everyone post about like, oh, I love my private life. Like me posting my life on the internet sometimes is not like very private. Like I post a lot on the internet.
Yeah.
So I don't have a private life very much per se. What do you think is something someone doesn't know about me?
Not you.
I know, but you're my brother.
Sarah has a brother.
You would think he'd want to expose my ass right now, but
Yeah, you
clearly
would think so.
He doesn't want
That
to.
someone doesn't know about me. Like, I'm sure that so many people are gonna not know me personally from this podcast.
Right.
So I guess I'd say that.
You are a mom first.
I mean, negative.
You definitely are. Definitely.
No, this doesn't.
babies.
This doesn't do it for you.
With 3 babies. Like, I don't think a lot of people don't know you have that many kids,
I know.
too.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, what?
I thought you only had. Yeah. No, I get it. Yes, I have 3 kids. Yes, and they are wonderful humans. What do I not know about me? That I had braces before?
Ooh, that's a good one. In your adult years, too.
Yeah. I didn't have braces when I was young. I had braces like 2 years ago when I was having my last baby.
Okay,
So
something,
fun.
I guess something funny or fun about me. I've never had surgery or been in the hospital.
Ever.
Ever.
Well,
I broke my arm.
are you having a
actually.
home birth whenever you have children? Are you going to keep that?
I broke my arm once, but that was like, I don't know if I broke it or so. I don't know. All I know is I was at like immediate care or something like that, not the
That's
hospital.
it.
So yeah, I've never been, knock on wood, I've never been to the hospital or had any surgeries.
That's pretty sweet.
So I know.
I can't say that.
Yeah, I know. Get your list.
So mean.
It's funny. Okay. What population do you work with and why?
I work with the majority, teenagers and young adults. I love working with them just because I feel like their brains are still so like spongy and they really want to learn and they're impressionable and they really do feel like they can change if they really want to and like if they get the tools. I feel as though through the years, I think I'm going on the track record of me being old. How many times I can tell myself that I'm old on this podcast. But like as we get older, right? So the years pile up, right? So I do feel like, getting a child or a young adult
Right.
in therapy sooner, there's that many less things that are compounding in their life, in their head, right? Like if you work with a teenager, yeah, sure that there's stressors, but there's not as many as adults have.
Right.
And there's not as many years
Right.
of work that you kind of need to unpack.
Right.
So that's why I love working with them.
I love that. I work with children. With the population that no one wants to touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I work with kids up to like teens.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite
Your
is
faves.
the kids. I think one of the reasons why I love working with the kids is I've always been like connected to other children wise and like the babysitter and stuff like that. I worked at daycare, like I said before, since I was out of high school. Knew I always wanted to work with kids in some aspect. But they have such a unique perspective on life and they are so honest. So it's more, in my opinion, it's more rewarding watching that child kind of be more open throughout session, because one thing about kids is they're so honest, and if they don't like you or they don't want to do something, they will not do it.
And they will let you know.
Right. And then once you get to that point, though, of them being open and honest and looking forward to seeing you, that is when you know you're doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
when you hear
you've
it.
shifted their perspective and they trust you.
Yeah, like you hear it in the waiting room, right?
Right.
You're in between people. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I'm so excited.
I know.
That is,
It's also
that is
very
the best.
So I feel like not a lot of people understand this, and it might be an odd take, but most of your trauma comes from childhood, I think. in my opinion.
Nature and nurture.
And the way that you were brought up and things like that. And I think that if a child is in therapy, it kind of shifts how they also look at things and how they use like their emotions and things like that. And
Knowing that they can use their words.
right.
Being able to find the words to say.
Right. And that's not taking away. I don't want that to get kind of misunderstood as taking the childhood aspect away of like being whiny and doing all the things, because that is a normal child response. But when you see a child that's so emotionally intelligent and able to tell somebody how they feel, it's so rewarding as a therapist, probably as a mom too, but like as a therapist, it's just so, it's so amazing. And like working through those things.
And they're very open. I do
Yeah.
find, I've worked with all walks of life, like from 5 until like 80, I think.
Right.
And I've seen that they're much more open, right? Because they do the things, at home.
Right.
Parents
And they
are really
started early,
creative and like
right?
at school
Right.
and all those things. So they're just much more, moldable,
I know.
which
and
is
it's so
which is
fun.
amazing. And it is so fun.
It really is, because it's a different perspective too, and it is. I feel like people don't touch that population much because you really have to be a completely different human when you're in session with a child versus when you're in session with a young adult or an adult. So you have to be, like you said, kind of moldable as a therapist too, like technique wise, personality wise, things like that.
One size does not fit all.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
And we've learned that, in just the few short months that we've had, almost a year we've had together.
Stop it.
I know, it's
Craziness.
wonderful though. It's
Wow,
great.
That's craziness. Yeah, but I don't know.
I think too, I just really love motivated individuals.
Oh, I know.
I think that is my
Population. That's your
population is
You're not motivated.
right? Not even
Because you're a very motivated therapist, though. There's a lot of people that are in this field that give as much as the client is willing to take, and that's enough for them.
Yeah.
We are not like that.
Like, let's
we
go.
are very motivated
here to get
therapists,
things
as
done.
in, like, I'm giving you all this, and you're taking it as I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah.
And
We will eat that up.
We're also different in we don't want you to stay
in therapy forever.
if you don't want to. Like if you want,
If
you
it's not
need to or want
necessary.
to, fine.
And if
But-
it's not necessary.
right, we're not going to be like, yeah, you need to do this, that, and the third.
And I think too, I've been saying that, you gotta stop saying that. There's also the aspect of insurance.
Right.
You have to be able to clinically justify that person
Right.
should be in therapy, billing insurance and using insurance. And that's the aspect that a lot of people don't understand. Is that if we're just coming and we're venting, that's all good and gravy, but
Right.
how can I justify to the insurance company that that's all we did?
Right.
We can't, because either, you're fudging your notes or you're really saying like, listen,
right.
kind of not even discharging. I don't think I've ever discharged a person in my life. I've told them like, you've worked on everything that you wanted to work on. Now, when you have something else, please come back.
Right.
Years later,
Right.
years, months, whatever that looks like. So I think
Right.
I guess the population that I would say would be motivated humans or willing to get to motivated.
See, and if I had to put my population in a different phrase, I would probably be like that changing everyday brain.
Yeah.
Like that child brain that is just stuck in like kind of complex, like a board game.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what it is. I love it. 'Cause
Our
there's
Candyland brain.
somebody actually commented or messaged and was like, "Can you please make that into a game?" And I
A
was
therapy
like,
game?
right.
Oh my gosh, that would be so
Right.
fun. All right,
I was
next
like,
on the
okay.
list.
Okay, so moving on. What is your biggest personal goal? Nothing to do with therapy or being a counselor or the podcast, because podcast is kind of work too. So, personal goal. My personal goal would be to visit Italy for at least 2 weeks to a month.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Go back to my roots.
Hmm.
But specifically like Capri or Rome.
See, I would love that too. That would be fun. I
2 weeks is enough. Like 1 week
Yeah.
is not enough. And I'm only saying this because I babysit for families that they're from Italy, and it's so fun. It's literally just a dream. I'm like, okay, this is as close as I'm gonna get right now. So
Aw,
give it all to me.
That's fun. What would be my dream? I don't know. This is tough. These are loaded.
I know.
Who wrote these?
Right.
Coming at my brain.
I love it though. Everyone's super intrigued by us.
To see Duke play at their home court.
You haven't done that? Huh.
I'm in for that
Fun. I love that.
dream. I feel like that one's a little far, but
No.
we'll go there.
No.
We'll get that.
I don't think mine's far. People go to Italy a lot
No, I
for
know.
vacation. Yours
I
is
get it.
no. No, it's not. Okay, next. What's your biggest career goal?
I would say eventually publish a book
Oh, I love that. I love
or
that.
get this going.
Right. Okay, so
This is like
right.
going
I guess
up here.
my tiers. So, fun fact is, I always wanted to create a kids game, and I would love that. Like, I literally would love that. And then ultimately for myself and my career would be to do all the things therapy, but in Florida.
yeah, leaving me.
Yeah, on the Atlantic side. I would
Yeah.
love to live in like West Palm area and just do all the things for all the people over
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so I'm going to be specific about like a book. Not like a written, here are all my words, all my thoughts book. I think it probably along the lines of like a planner. I love me a planner.
Oh, yeah.
And we made ours.
Yeah.
So fun
No, we
for a
didn't make them.
therapist.
She made them. I can't be bothered with that.
And if you ever saw our reel, we decorate them like we're in kindergarten
Right.
with stickers. So that's always fun. I think doing something like that or doing a mindful book or an affirmation book.
Oh yeah, you would be.
love
I could
that.
see that
Because the
everywhere.
EMDR
I could
part,
see that
I love that.
making billboards if you did that shit.
I love it. The
That's all
EMDR
you, that's you
affirmation.
Though. That's very you. You know. I love that.
Thanks, Sarah.
That's very you. And I would definitely have that on my shelf. So the next question is, from our viewpoint, what do you think would be the best way to combat the mental health crisis we have?
More therapists. More child therapists. Right? We
No.
need more Sarahs in this
I'll
world.
take them all. I haven't know that. If I was like a super therapist, I would take every child that needed.
I also do think that one of the biggest things, and you'll get to know it as you continue to grow as a therapist, is the linking of medication management and therapists
Don't even get me started.
and
Stop it.
schools.
I know.
Right? So all of those aspects, they all really need to be on board. They really need to collaborate care, because doing one-offs of, if you're taking, I'm not a medication person of like
Right.
knowing all the things, like taking a mood stabilizer or any antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication and not talking through the stuff that's going on, the real stuff, and just utilizing the medication to ease the mind, that doesn't make things go away. It's like when you are really stressed, right? Is like a one-off example that therapists, aka me, always do. Everything's really overwhelming and you're stressed and you're like, I just want to go on vacation. It's all going to be fine after I come back. And it's like, no, the emotions and the things still come with you no matter where you are. So it's like the same thing. If you're taking a medication, yes, it's coming down. It's more manageable, but the feelings and the emotions and the stress are still there. So we're not utilizing that space of collaboration or having the capability, easily accessibility to talk to these doctors or talk to the primary doctors or talk to the psychologists or psychiatrists isn't available. So each individual has to reach out to these parties, which is so hard because we don't know when we're getting anything. So I think that's part of
that goes kind of hand in hand with mine. I think mine, for my viewpoint, it would be the resources that go hand in hand with the therapist. So I know for a fact from working in daycare and then shifting my career to this, there are so many things that fall short for these kids. And I mean, in the schools, CPS, every single thing that just falls short of, it's not as bad. Like, I will never understand the term, well, it's just not as bad as something that we would take, or like, it's not bad enough. Why the fuck does something have to be bad enough for a child to be in any danger? Because then you shift to the perspective of like, oh, well, now it's really bad and like, we probably should have done something sooner. Make that make sense to me, because where is the silver lining or the happy medium of, okay, it's not bad, but this is a warning of it could be way up there. And then when it gets way up there, there's a horrible thing that happened or something life-threatening and nobody's held accountable. And that is where I get super passionate, clearly, about all of the other resources that can go hand in hand and kind of collaborate on the well-being of a child, and then it just falling so short and you as the therapist only being able to do so much and then having to kind of literally wash your hands and close that door. So that would be mine. And everyone doing their jobs a little better.
And knowing that there are people that are being directly affected by these things negatively, really. And two, it's also how we are administering or justifying what medications people get. I think we have to go even a step further of, when you go to any doctor, right, they see like, let's see what your levels are. And then being able to link that together. Like, okay, this anxiety medication is not going to work for you because your levels are here or there. Like, we have to figure out a different way instead of shooting, every medication at the dart, where then it becomes so hard for people to justify why to continue
or
taking the medication.
Off.
Right.
And that's a huge piece. I've seen so many kids be prescribed something that I'm like, this cannot be the first medication that someone thought to give this child.
Yeah.
You thought to give this child Adderall right off the bat for something that is labeled ADHD, but probably you just wanted to put them in that box in school because they needed a little extra help. And you're gonna give them that right off the bat.
Well, we could talk about that until
That's
the cows
right. That
come
will be a whole
home,
other episode.
Right? And I think there's so many aspects. That is such a loaded question, and I love it.
There's so many
maybe
aspects
we will
for
make
us too.
Yeah,
like of you.
We should make that just
like all of our
episode.
Viewpoints of what we think would help.
Yeah,
we should.
Because it's so complex. That question is so complex, and it's important to understand that
the pieces too. There's so many pieces. It's literally a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, because if this piece was better, it would fit better here.
Yeah,
like literally. Yeah. Any way you look at it. Yeah.
Right? Everybody,
I think I like making that into an episode.
Yeah.
That's a good
done.
idea.
We'll stop talking about that now.
Okay, last question, which is kind of funny.
Oh, boy.
How, and it's only funny because it's for us, nobody else. How did you guys meet?
Only funny for you.
I don't think so. It's definitely funny for you because, then it makes sense why I am the way I am.
This is true. You're welcome. Okay, so I don't know if anyone remembered.
I don't know if anyone kind of picked up on it. I would love to know if anyone picked up
I
on
know.
it.
Raise your hand. Please like this if you caught previous episodes where Sarah was like, that bomb therapist that I had
When I was in high school.
when I was in high school? Okay. It might have been me. And I love it because now it is.
This is great.
This is
People are
full
gonna be
circle.
like,
What is happening? Right? This
Nobody
is how
knows
they
this
understood. Yeah.
Besides my closest friends and
Yeah.
family. Closest friends and family.
Yeah. Mine too. And that's the thing. It's so complex,
It's been years.
but it's not, right?
It's been,
And that's the line. It's over 6 years.
oh my God, I know. Like, I think probably longer than that. That's crazy.
And I can't believe that we've come full circle to then being able to be in the same room, like just chit-chatting. Hey,
Like,
how was your
okay,
day?
let's just talk about
It's amazing.
She knows my biggest, deepest, darkest secrets. and
And that's why it's so fun that when now it's gonna be even more fun to know like my little tags at you, like my digs.
literally,
It's literally like
your little digs are like, okay, like it's
let me keep that one
we
in
worked
there.
on this years ago. Okay, stop. No, I love it. We were gonna wait, and then I'm like, maybe this
Why
is the
not?
perfect time
Why
to
not?
tell everybody.
Let's do it. So yes, I was the mom therapist. Thank you. But I'm not gonna lie, it took some work. It took some
I
while.
was not a great client.
You were.
No,
You
I did
were.
all the things. That's for
You
sure.
did.
I was motivated.
Yes.
Your favorite type of
Exactly.
human. That's why. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you tried. That's the thing. I don't care if it doesn't work for you.
Right.
So as long as you just try
Right.
and give it a shot, right? Because I feel
Right.
like a lot of times we give things a try, but we think it's a light switch. We
Right.
think it's going to work in 1 second and not actually see the benefits of it. It's like going to the gym or doing anything brand new. You are never going to understand what the benefits are
Right.
until you give it weeks, months, years, right? I saw this thing maybe years ago, and it really stuck in my head. Like a new routine is learned in 2 weeks. A lifestyle change is done in 6 months. So when individuals ask me, well, how long do I have to work on this thing? I always say, like, this is a lifelong thing.
Right.
This has to be a lifelong.
Right. Well, and I'm still doing those things that you implemented for me, not only me, but my clients. Like, not only because I think that I know that it works,
Yeah.
but like, I know that giving it a try, and I know that it works not only as a therapist and a client, and that's where it goes hand in hand. Like, when you sit on both ends of that chair,
Real life.
untouchable.
Right. You're doing great, though. And now you're going to be a therapist, which is
Thanks. Well, that is the last question that we had for this episode. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.
and keep the questions coming.
Bye.
Bye.